Hello everyone, welcome back to ESPN's Football Forecast with myself, James Allcott, and of course we have the dream team this week, Nubaid, Haroon and Kweku, Afari. Let's talk about our dark horses, and you are not going to want to miss the end of this video because there is a shout from one of the panel, not me, and it is laughable. And we were going to laugh at that at the end of this video. That's right, Nubaid, I've gone punchy early. Right, dark horses. I'm going to put one forward to win the whole competition. But I don't know if they are actually a dark horse or not. So I'll say the name of the country. Then you tell me if they even qualify for dark horse. Denmark.
No,
not having it straight away.
No, we've seen their pedigree in recent.
Do you see who's coming after me really quickly there? Who's going to do at the end here?
Yeah, stay tuned. No, Denmark. They've got good players. They've got quality players. We saw how far they pushed England in the Euros. They were on the brink of making it to the final of a major competition. So I don't necessarily think they are dark horses, but they wouldn't be amongst the favourites. They have got a very, very good side, I think.
Yes, that's the definition of a dark horse.
You reckon?
Dark horse to win it is like, if you said dark horse to get out of the group, I'd be like, they're not a dark horse to get out of the group. But to win the whole thing in a World Cup, I think that's a shout.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a World Cup where, more so than ever, you've had the chance of a random team, a dark horse, winning it?
I was actually thinking the opposite. I actually thought, looking at the groups, I think like a team like Denmark, which is literally just talking about them now, I was struggling to pick an actual dark horse because so many countries have pedigree like Denmark, like Switzerland, like some of the other teams we're going to mention. So I kind of go, are they going to go the whole way? I'm a bit stuck as to whether a dark horse can actually win it because of the way the draw plays out as well.
I really do think Denmark are the team this year. I think it's really obvious in terms of the dark horse and it being Denmark. I think we said dark horse a lot, haven't we? Yeah. The reason I say that, I just think there's great balance with Denmark. They are, I think also what's important is how you did in the last tournament for sure, but if you've progressed or if you've lost a few, the age of the squad can make a difference as well. You know, likes of say Belgium or Uruguay, who they have some good players, some young players, some quality players, but then they got these old boys as well. And I feel like with Denmark, they're better than they were. They've beaten France twice, who are obviously in their group as well, and that midfield three is so balanced. You've got Delaney's that destroyer, Højbjerg, who's playing a little bit more like he is playing for Spurs now, but is allowed to be a bit more of a box-to-box midfielder. And Christian Eriksen, who's just such a smart footballer. Mæhle, as a fullback, has just been bombing on, scoring goals in qualifying as well. So balanced. And the narrative for Eriksen is outrageous as well. If I can just chuck that into the mix. I just think the reason why I think all of those major nations have little sort of stumbling blocks for me, maybe Brazil aside. I just think Denmark as well. The final thing I think is important in terms of Denmark going far in the competition is I like their draw. I like their side of the draw personally. And I think if they were, well actually you're turning your nose up here, but I've got them winning the group. I think they'll win their group.
Okay.
I just can't see that happening. I can't see that.
I actually have them winning the group, but then it doesn't really balance out on my end as to how they get.
Well, we're going to do that in another video as well.
Yeah.
So, but from my route of my bracket, I see them sort of having some teams that might not be full of confidence or aren't impenetrable.
Do you worry that they don't have a goal scorer?
Yes, I think that's my one thing. But are they a team that is able to attack as well as defend, and are there goals in the team? I think there are goals in the team.
That's it. There's goals all over the team, and you've got the metronome in Christian Eriksen who can provide for everybody else in that team. I don't think they're going to be over-reliant on one attacking player to get them the goals. And I think that what they can do as well is they can build confidence in the group stages. Obviously, France are the favourites of the group. I think it's insane that you think that Denmark are going to top the group.
Beat them twice in the Nations League.
I know, but I think when it gets to the major tournament, France will just have that extra bit of juice. Australia and Tunisia are the other teams in that group. I think Denmark can maybe build up some confidence in the group stages and possibly build up a head of steam going into the knockout phase. But I just don't see them progressing past maybe the last 16 or the quarterfinals.
Who are you going for, Nubaid?
Goals are a big thing. That's why I got Serbia. They got goals pouring out. And Mitrovic and Dusan Vlahovic up front is a joke of a front pairing. And then you got go on.
Well, so I think the first thing I would chuck out there is I think with Denmark, France, Australia, Tunisia, that's as yummy a group as you can get in terms of making it out of the group. It feels like those two are so far adrift from Australia and Tunisia. the group for Serbia, I think they could do really well, but I think they could struggle to get out of their group.
The thing is, I think if you get out of the group, that's where you get going. So I also agree.
Obviously.
No, but what I mean is, like, when you're in a tricky group like Switzerland, who are such a wild card, they obviously got my boy there.
Yeah,
He always gets
so you're going against your boy Xhaka?
Only because I look at the team in general at Switzerland, and they have age. We were just talking about age. And although he's progressed, the rest of the team hasn't. Lots of these players are now not even playing first team football, so I think they might struggle. Then they've got Cameroon in there, who are a little bit of a wild card. Did well in the AFCON, but then I look at Serbia's front line, and I can't like get my head around how you stop this team scoring goals, because then you've got Kostic, who I think is genuinely one of the best crosses I've ever seen.
He's one of the big ones to watch this tournament.
110%. If you're playing World Cup fantasy, get him in your side. I think he's relatively cheap. He's in my team. Yeah. He'll constantly keep whipping the balls. And we were just saying this before, actually. There's a lot of big men in this tournament, and I think there'll be a lot of headed goals. Yeah. And Mitrovic comes into this tournament probably one of the most informed strikers in the world.
I know he comes in as one of the most informed strikers in the world, but he was always coming in, his form towards the back of the Premier League season, maybe he's slowed down in comparison to the beginning of the season, and also he's coming in with an injury, and he's not been fully fit for Fulham for a while. I've talked to quite a few Fulham fans who said he's been a little bit off the pace for the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, which could be an issue. We've seen injured players come into tournaments and not necessarily perform to their level. So I do like Serbia as a pick, but I just don't see them progressing that far in the tournament.
Who you got?
Here we go.
Here we go, guys, ready?
This is what we're heading for.
Here we go.
Here we go. So the team I picked, they've got, before you laugh, they've got pedigree in the World Cup. We saw them in the group of death in 2014 make it through. And I'm talking about Costa Rica. They are my dark horses for this World Cup. I know they're still relying on Joel Campbell up front, but they have got, go on.
Let me save you just quickly. As you're typing, just delete a little bit. He's not saying win it. He's not saying win it. He's saying to go far.
To go far. But this is a different Costa Rica side, obviously managed by Luis Suarez. No, not that Luis Suarez, Luis Fernando Suarez, who took over in 2021 and has rejuvenated the side. It's been a kind of like youth revolution. He's since he's come in as manager, he's used like 77 players overall. And like most Costa Rican sides, they're predicated on a strong defence. They've still got Keylor Navas, who is their key player. In my opinion, one of the greatest kind of Central American players of all time. I know that's not a long list, but I think this Costa Rica side have got the defensive solidity, and also, like I say, have got World Cup pedigree. In 2014, they were in a group with England, in a group with Italy, Uruguay, and made it out of that group. Got to World Cup quarterfinals.
That was 10 years ago.
But there's still a lot of these players in this side. I just like the way that the draw sets up for Costa Rica, and they're in a difficult group as well. But I see them progressing to at least the quarterfinals of this World Cup, and that's just my opinion, though. Go on.
Do you want me to bury him?
I was praying you were gonna like sell it to us, but like the fact you said that these players were there 10 years ago, that's not a good thing. Like 10 years later, they say
okay, but since Luis Suarez come in terms of the 14 competitive games they've played, they've conceded 13 goals. And I know this tournament maybe favours the bigger sides who've got better squads. But I think we're going to see a kind of breakdown when it gets to the latter stages of this competition. And it's just kind of come down to who can concede the least amount of goals. And I think this Costa Rica side is set up perfectly for that.
I'm just blown away. I mean, so we talk about World Cup pedigree. Who else is in their group? Japan, probably a dark horse in Japan to a point. But the reason I think people don't talk about Japan is because Spain and Germany are in this squad as well.
I'm not buying this Spain side. I think Germany will top the group. I think Costa Rica finish second. Ooh. But in all World Cups,
I hope it happens.
It doesn't ever go by the book. There's going to be one nation that surprises people, and Costa Rica might pick for this tournament.
I swear to God, out of all the nations in there, that's the last one I was looking at.
If Costa Rica make it far, I deserve an honorary citizenship of Costa Rica, because I am backing the boys hard.
Okay, guys, in the comments, talk to us. Obviously, we haven't touched on every single team. What dark horse are we missing? Let us know in the comments down below. And who's your Costa Rica shout? Who's the one where there's two guys being mean, saying, what are you talking about? That might just come true. Let us know in the comments down below.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.